Since it is the Big Ten, Tom, are you ready to count them up?
I am.
As much as I think it's the under is a safe play, like I can't even.
Count them up. Count them up. How many kids are going to win this fall?
I can't fathom 8 wins.
How many kids are going to win this fall?
I just can't. I don't see it. It's not on there. It's not the schedule I'm looking at. Unless there's another schedule somewhere.
And we begin with a look at the Big Ten favorites, the Ohio State Buckeyes. At FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more, the over-under win total is at 10.5. And this thing moved 10 cents in the last 48 hours. So I pulled all the prices on Monday, minus 150 to the over, as I pulled them last night, minus 160 to the over, plus 130 to the under. We've been talking about this team all off season. We know their personnel extensively. So now with your feet held to the fire, Danny, which way are we going with the Buckeyes?
I think this is easy, and I know it's juiced heavily, so you got to pay up for it, but I'm on the over. I just, when I run down the schedule and look at the talent of this team, granted there are questions with Will Howard. That's my biggest concern, is how does he fit? How does he handle the pressure? How does he handle, Chip Kelly's offense? Like, you've got plenty of runway to get your feet wet with Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, at Michigan State before you come home for Iowa, which could be tricky. But I feel like the defense could be a defensive battle, but I don't think Iowa's going to be putting up a ton of points against Ohio State's defense. There's 3 potential hiccups. I do have them losing in Eugene to Oregon. So then it's like, all right, there's 1. And then where's the second? Penn State, they've dominated the last 11 of 12 meetings. I think they've won. I'm not that worried about that game. And then if they get that one, is it Michigan or Penn State? Are they going to lose both? I have them as a 1-loss team. I think they are driven. I think they're motivated. I think they're ticked off of watching what Michigan has done. And you know what else I think? I think Georgia and some of the other teams that have tougher schedules have to look at this one and be like, man, you guys have it made.
Yeah.
Those
You've
SEC
already
teams.
heard. I mean, that is the echo throughout the echo chamber that is Southeastern Conference fandom. Like, everyone is just pointing up to Columbus about that soft schedule, ignoring that they've got to play, 3 top 10 teams, So yeah.
Yeah, like that weekend when Georgia's playing UMass and they get to see Ohio State has to play Indiana, they're like, man, I wish I had that schedule.
Hey, listen, UMass is basically half of an SEC partner with how many SEC teams they're playing. Kind of like Murray State and teams in the
hey, congrats to the SEC. They found a way to get 2 FCS teams on the schedule. Good for them.
And to be fair, I want to make sure I'm getting accused of being an SEC homer. Like, back in there are teams in the SEC which have cakewalk schedules. Missouri, Texas A&M are some. The Georgia, the teams that are up here at the 10.5 win total, this one's the one I look at. I'm like, man, I don't see how they lose 2 games.
And yes, before Georgia fans get all whatever, I understand you guys are playing Clemson. It's a joke. Relax.
Again, our serious is down. Your passion is up. Sorry, we're gonna fire a couple off here. All right,
let's go.
Tom, where are you going?
Over. I'm mostly in line with Danny here. Like, this is the most talented team, I think, in the country. And when you look at the schedule, like, the non-con truly is like, they have tried to follow Michigan's lead so many ways in recent years that they looked at Michigan's non-con the last couple of years. They're like, all right, we got to start doing that. So Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall all at home to start the year. Those games will be over by halftime every single week. You start off your road games in the Big Ten. You've got Michigan State, Oregon, Penn State, and then Northwestern, but that's at Wrigley Field. That'll mostly be Ohio State fans. So, like, obviously, you'd rather not have to play both Penn State and Oregon on the road, but of those 2, Oregon is the only one that genuinely concerns me right now. Maybe I'll feel differently about the Penn State game by the time we get to it in November. And then there's the Michigan game at the end of the season. So when you break it down, it's a 3-game schedule for the most part. And your question is, can Ohio State go 2-1 in those 3 games? I think more often than not they do. So over 10.5. Although I'm not betting it because the juice is a little, it's a little heavy.
I agree with you. I'm not like personally betting this. I am going over. I think Will Howard and this offense with how they should be able to run the football is kind of like a low variance operation. You sort of know what you're going to get. I think the defense is extremely low variance operation. I mean, how many touchdowns will Ohio State's first team defense allow before that October 12th trip to Oregon?
Oh,
I mean, because Danny played on a 93 team where I think they went, was it till Halloween where the first team defense outscored the opponents they were playing?
Yeah, it was something insane.
It's like because it was the
Like,
Derek
the
Brooks team. They
goal
had
was
like
to
7
pitch a
pick sixes in
shutout.
the first month.
Like the goal, and it was not like a joke or like a long shot. It was to pitch a shutout. Like that was the goal. Like was to not let them
100%.
score. I think that there might be one fluky one in there, but like seriously, the other team should not score on them.
Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Michigan State, Iowa. Like, will Ohio State's first team defense allow a touchdown before it plays Oregon?
Yes. I'm
Hold on.
going to go
You have
out
to
on that
say
limb.
yes, but I
I'm
don't
not
think it's
entirely
winning.
sure. Okay, will it be a
will.
touchdown drive of more than 60 yards? Like, not off
Yes.
the turnover? Okay.
Yes.
Ooh.
Youngstown State scored a first half touchdown in
That's
the shoe
right.
last year.
That's right.
If you're going to let the Penguins get into the end zone,
Yeah,
no.
there's a fluky play, a miscovered, somebody screws up, a trick play. There's always that in there.
But
You can't, you can't game
point
plan
is-
for Marshall. Marshall will go into South Bend and beat you. They're going to come and put up a touchdown on the Buckeyes.
but I think your point is spot on because no team until Michigan scored more than 17 points on the Buckeyes defense last year. That was, to me, the real renaissance that we saw from Ohio State. That while there was frustration with the run game that never really got going, there was frustration with, the Kyle McCord, the offensive line, and whether or not Maserati Marv was getting highlighted, or able to flourish alongside all those other superstar wide receivers. The thing that was a rock for Ohio State was what Jim Knowles was able to continue to build on with that defense. You bring back most of your best players and you add Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
It's stupid, like low variance. Like that is what is, I'm not good at investments. What's the most steady investment that you have? Because Ohio State's defense might be the most reliable investment in all of college football.
I've just got my index funds. I think those are the steadiest.
Okay. All right. Ohio State's
Ohio
defense.
State's like Vanguard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. That's the line. Come on. Trot it around radio stations across the country and on Dusty and Danny in the morning.
I like it, man. And I don't know who the quarterbacks are that are going to beat this defense. I mean, I like Dylan Gabriel, but I don't love Dylan Gabriel, right? He's kind of an accumulator, longtime college guy. He's not going to be a top end of the draft type dude. Maybe Drew Aller gets it together for Penn State. Maybe he doesn't. Is a freshman Raiola going to go into the shoe for Nebraska and really beat them? I can't see that happening. Northwestern Indiana, no. Michigan, whether it's Davis Warren or Alex Orji, I don't really see them winning in Columbus. Stranger things certainly have happened before, and they could again. I'm going to go over.
Let's make it a clean sweep. I am also going to go over. I do think Dylan Gabriel is let me rephrase this. I think Dylan Gabriel is good enough to beat Ohio State's defense. I think Dylan Gabriel plus the rest of the offense as a whole, offensive line with a couple really good tackles and, still building off even what they lost last year, a couple good running backs, Jordan James leading the way in a wide receiver room that has been restocked. Will Stein's like the joystick, right here, just telling you like where to throw it, how to put him in space, and how to score a touchdown. And I think that's the spot to your point, Danny. I've got him losing in Eugene when you make me do it game to game, but I think at Penn State's going to be tough. I've got 11-1, but in this case, 11-1 is a over. How many games are going to win this fall?